Hello, marvelous mothers. We here at the Nahuna Haven for Minority Women Incorporated pride ourselves in empowering single mothers. One of the ways that we do that is by encouraging single mothers to get politically active by way of engaging in their civic duties to vote. We all are raising our children to be good, contributing citizens to the community that we live in. And so that means that we should all be leading by example. So it is important that you bring your child along with you when you are going to vote in every election. Within every election, here is how to do your part. First, if you have not done so, you must go and register to vote. The way that you do that is that you look up where exactly your office, your elections office is. Depending on the boroughs, each borough has their own office. I will put a picture of where all the offices are located and maybe how to contact those offices for you guys. When you go to register to vote, you have to be able to register to vote here in New York. You have to be 18 and you need to be a citizen of the United States. Bring your real ID so that the process can move along. The reason why it is important to register to vote, once you have your name in the database, depending on the borough that you live in, if they do what I'm about to show you guys, that's when you will be able to get the booklet. And the booklet I'm talking about is the voter's guide that you will get in the mail after you've registered to vote. So when you go to register to vote is when you will be marking what political party you want to be affiliated with. So it's important to do so because how you're allowed to be able to vote is that the political party that the candidates are up for makes up which parties, so what party you're in has something to do with whether or not you get to vote in elections if candidates from your same political party are up on the ballot. It is important when every election comes that you know the date the elections will be held on, the date that you can go into your poll site and vote, that you get to know the candidates prior to you going out to go vote. It's important for you to learn about the candidates that will be up on the ballot. It's important to know your poll site. If you don't know where your poll site will be, you can also contact the elections office, the Board of Elections in your borough, and someone there will be able to look you up in the database and tell you where your poll site will be. And that's for early voting and the regular day. Of course, most importantly for us single moms, bring your children so that you can normalize being civically active in their lives, so that they grow up watching their mom vote, so that they know once they get to 18, this is going to be a normal part of the process for them as an adult. That they should prioritize learning about the candidates, going to cast their vote, making sure that their vote counts. The next topic that we'll be talking about is how to get to know the candidates that are on the ballot. So the first one is that you can either attend or watch a candidate forum. This is where all the candidates go to a specific place, like a church, a community center, or something along those lines. And it isn't a debate, it's more so they are allowing the public to get to know them and what they're running on, what's important to them as a candidate, and what they hope to get done if they are elected into office. So the first one is a forum. You can watch a forum, attend the forum to like really get to know the candidates, be introduced to them, see how they work in real life, you know. And then the second one is to attend or watch a candidate debate. And the way that you can do that, I believe, I mean, I'm sure you can find it, you know, the day that it's happening. I'm sure it'll be announced and you can watch it on YouTube, or you can watch it on regular TV, like stations, or I believe the guide has a link. Okay, yes, so it does have one. So if you received the voter's guide this year, the link is included on page 8. And so it's nycvotes.org/debates. And I'm sure that you can go there and watch it if the link is working. By the time this video is edited and posted, it will be Monday, the Monday before Election Day, and so I don't believe the early voting will happen that day. You'll have to wait until the official day to vote, which is that Tuesday, the 24th. So go out and vote. Okay, so I said the candidate forums that are happening in your community, the candidate debates, and the guide that you'll receive also has candidate profiles. And so you can take an hour of your day. You know, being single mothers, we have so much going on, but definitely set aside an hour so that you can read through the candidates' profiles in the voter guide. I will just show you an example. So, for example, the candidates for mayor, you can see that there are two here. I can show you what I mean. So the way that I would suggest you read this is you just look at the name, you remember the name, you see the political party, you look at the 3 issues that the candidate is focusing on, that they're running their campaign based off of, and then you see this paragraph is depicting what the candidate is standing up for. So basically, if you were watching a forum, this is what the candidate would probably answer to one of the questions, is what this paragraph is. It's just a way to let you get to know the candidate a little better. And then over here, it says the current occupations, the previous occupation, the education, the organizational affiliations, the prior public experience, and the party enrolled in, which is all important information because you want to kind of get an idea about the work that this specific candidate has been doing prior to them putting themselves up to be a candidate for the office of mayor, for instance. So take an hour and read through each of those, the profiles, so that you get to know the candidates a little bit better, which is helpful for when you are doing the ranked choice ballot. So here I've already, clearly my guide is used. I've used my guide. Let me be a little bit more clear about why it's important for you to read the candidate profile, to see like what prior experience the candidates have, you know, like what their occupation is, it's important to read this profile in the guide, because you as a voter and as a person who will have to live with the policies and the way and the leadership of the person that is elected into office, you want to know that if the person that you're voting for gets elected into office, the experience from all their previous jobs, all their previous government positions, they're going to bring all that experience, all that knowledge into how they you know, make certain policies, how they lead your city. So it's important to get to know them and understand what it is you're voting for and who it is you would like to put into office. So let me just give you an example of how I would process this, right? So let's go with this guy. His name is Zoran Mamdani, right? This guy here, he's on page 17. So he is a Democrat, and his top 3 issues are build housing and freeze the rent, make buses fast and free, and free universal child care. Immediately, as a single mother, those 3 issues are in line with what is important to me. For example, as a single mom who lives in New York City, it's important to me that I can be able to travel throughout the city without having to concern myself with if I can afford to pay for the bus or the train. Also, it's important that if I do decide to take the bus, that the buses are running at a fast interval. No one likes to be waiting for the bus for more than 15 minutes, you know, waiting 20 minutes between buses. It's hard, especially in like harsh weather. The next issue that sticks out to me is we have all been there, or we know someone who's been there, where it's like they need to get to work, they need to get to some sort of event that they have committed to, and it's hard for them to do that because they don't have childcare. If we were able to have free universal childcare in the city, it would make the lives of single mothers just a little bit easier, because as we all know, as single moms, childcare is very costly. It is really, really expensive. And of course, to build housing and freeze the rent, that would be a heaven sent, because right now it is very, very difficult to find housing. And even in the neighborhood that I live in, apartments are $4,000, $5,000 a month. So something needs to be done, because that prices out a lot of people. Moving on to the statement here, candidate Mamdani says, in 2020, I was elected to the NYS, New York State Assembly, serving Astoria and Long Island City, becoming the first South Asian man and only 3rd Muslim to serve in the chamber. As a legislator, I've won over $100 million in the state budget for increased subway and bus service, and a successful fare-free bus pilot. Led a 10-month fight alongside taxi drivers, including participating in a 15-day hunger strike to secure more than $450 million in transformative debt relief, and led the coalition that defeated a proposed fracking gas power plant in my district. So immediately after reading that snippet, I can see that this is a candidate who's not afraid to take tangible actions to get the desired outcomes when it comes to certain legislations, or when it comes to blocking certain events from happening within the community that he is serving. He's not afraid. That really is important, because you want someone who is not just going to sit in an office, who's really, when it comes down to the wire, is going to step out into the community and we'll see him doing the work. Moving on, here in current occupation, he is a New York State Assembly member, which means that he's had experience working in like a government position. A previous occupation is that he was an eviction counselor. What is this? Chaya CDC. Not sure what that is. I'm gonna go and check. So I'm encouraging you to do your own research. It's important that you do your own research. Don't just rely on what I am saying. Don't just rely on what anybody else is saying. It's important that you make up your mind about the candidates that you want. Education, he went to Bronx High School of Science and then Bowdoin College. The organizational affiliation, he's in the Democratic Party, he's a Working Families Party, he's a Muslim Democrat Club of New York, and NYCDSA. Not sure what that is. You do your own research. His prior public experience is assembly member of Astoria, which was up there, and Long Island City since 2020. He's been serving since the pandemic, basically. The party he's enrolled in is Democrat, which is of course under his picture and his name. So what this tells me is that this man has already had experience on a specific level of what it means to serve in a government office. It also means that this man is educated, which is important. It also means that he's affiliated with 1, 2, 3, 4 organizations, which could be informative about the way that he is able to work within a group or team setting. He can work with others because he is a part of like 4 organizations. What we gathered here is that this man is not afraid to take action to get the results that he is looking for, that he is promising his constituents. He is educated. He has had the experience of serving in a government capacity, and he is a part of 4 different organizations, or has been at one point or another part of a total of 4 organizations, which to me demonstrates his ability to work well with others. So in my opinion, that makes him a good candidate. And when I went to vote early, I did rank him. He was my first choice. But you have the ability, and I want you to exercise your civic duties. Go through these profiles, read them, make sure that each of the candidates that you will be ranking, you have 5 choices, right? Each of them align with what you want, what your needs are as a single mom. If it's housing that is something that's important to you, pick candidates that align, that their issues, their top 3 issues align with that, and that their little snippet, right, demonstrates that they're focused on what those top 3 issues also are. Another thing to know there is that even though you can rank 5 candidates, you don't have to. You can just do your top 1 or do your top 3, but to make sure that your vote has as much weight as possible, you are given the option of ranking 5 candidates. Rank 5 candidates so that your vote, it carries as much weight as possible. Some other things to consider when you are going to register to vote is that when you go to register to vote, you must ensure that when you are doing the application, all of your information is correct. Do it once, fill it out, and then go back and reread all of your answers. Make sure your name is spelled correctly. Make sure your date of birth is correct. Make sure your address is correct. Do not make any errors. And if you do, ask for another paper, redo it to submit it to the person. Okay. And to reiterate about the party that you are registered under, it's important which parties you are registered. There are more than just Democrat and Republican, but usually in most elections, the candidates are either Democrat or Republican. And so in order for you to be able to vote, you need to be either a Republican or a Democrat if all of the candidates either fall under those parties, right? I hope that is clear, but if it isn't clear, ask someone at your local elections office, you know, like what it means to be registered as a Democrat or a Republican, and if you don't register as one or the other, like, you know, how that will affect your ability to vote. Ask someone who has an authority on the elections process at that office. Given everything that's going on, right, for you to be able to vote, you have to be 18 and you need to be a citizen of the US. So I'm not even sure why it is. One of the days recently, because the elections are happening right now, right? One of the days when I was walking past one of the voting sites, I saw an ice truck outside one of the poll sites.
I don't see any video on this thing.
And so I would just say to be vigilant, you know, those of us who are going to vote are going because we meet the qualifications to be able to be a registered voter and go and vote. But just be vigilant. Look at your surroundings when you're around the poll site, but most importantly, do not be afraid to go and exercise your civic duties. This is your right. A lot of people fought for you as a woman to have the right to vote, for you as a black person to have the right to vote. And so do not be intimidated by anyone to the point where you are not going to exercise that right. Go and vote. Go register to vote. Even if you cannot, even if you aren't registered to vote now to make this election, definitely get yourself registered before the next election happens so that you can exercise your right. I already went and participated in the early voting and I did take my child with me because I believe it's important for her to see me engaged civically like this, so that it's normalized for her that this is also a part of being an adult. To do your part to make sure that everyone is protected and everyone is cared for and that elected officials are taking care of our city the best way possible, and that we are doing our part as citizens to elect the most qualified candidate to take office. When you go to go register to vote, the process is fairly simple and straight to the point, but you can bring someone with you to help you. When you go to the voting poll site, the volunteers there, the people, the poll site workers, they are very, in my experience at least, they are very, very hospitable, and they are informative, and the process is smooth. It seems like everyone is trained very well, and you know, things move along as best as they can manage it for the people that are there. One thing I would suggest is that if you can do early voting, do early voting, because there isn't a line. Well, when I went for early voting, there was no line. I was able to get through, handle my business, and go. Though Zoran Mamdani is my first choice for mayoral candidate, I have voted for him to become mayor, but I am still going to make sure that I stay politically engaged, and that if he wins the election and he goes to office, that he will produce results on the issues that, you know, he campaigned on, and his promises are kept, and that we can see it in tangible ways, all the things that, you know, he, you know, was speaking passionately about throughout his campaign. I want to see results. I want to see him get to work and make those things happen. I would like free universal child care. I would like to be able to afford an apartment, a decent apartment, without it costing an arm and a leg. And I believe, you know, a lot of single mothers would appreciate that. And I would like for the buses to run decently, and we don't have to wait for long periods of time, you know, and it would be very beneficial for single moms and other people in the community. So Zoran, if you see this, good luck. If you win, congratulations, and I really hope that you make good on your promises, and that you are able to tackle these issues and get some results. So thank you, single moms, for watching this video. Go out and vote on Tuesday, the 24th of June, 2025. Make sure you use your right and that your vote counts. Okay? Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.